Oh, that was a gut punch, wasn't it? We played well, wasn't enough. On another day, we potentially take that game. Chelsea 4, Leicester City 2. As you can see, for some reason, this stuff's coming in as well. Get your thoughts in down below. Just get that. Overall thoughts. The lads played well. There was a few off games, but there's some players that can really hang themselves with their head up high. Some other players, though, I was a bit concerned about. Considering who we were playing against, the form they're in, I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get anything from the game. So, looking at the game we first started, again, get your comments in down below. This is how we decided to set up. So we played with like the 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1, 3-2-4-1. So we set up with this position. So Daka up top. I was a little bit surprised. I thought that Kelechi and Asher would come on. We'll get into him in a second as well. Mavi Didi, we'll get into him. For Tau, then Ndidi playing his first start in, I think, this year since his injury. KDH. Winks and Hamza playing a double pivot role. Vestergaard, Fass and Doyle. Now, coming into the team, I thought a couple of things. Number one, I thought it was harsh for Tom not to be left out of the team. Believers in, he says, didn't lose sight for. No, we didn't, mate. Genuinely didn't. And that picture of Vardy is kind of how I'm feeling at the moment. Deflated. But there were certain things that were, again, a bit frustrating in the game. For us, for our perspective, again, just to let you know, I did miss the first 15 minutes or so. But in terms of where we are and how we were playing, we started to play quite well. It just didn't work out, really. So Vestergaard, I think, had a genuinely decent game throughout. Doyle, we'll get into him a little bit in a second. And also, it speaks like if we come into the Premier League, is he going to be the right man for the job? Harry Winks, I think, had a good game. We'll go through individually, but the way we start, again, I'd missed the first goal. If I'm looking at it, it did look like two players that I want to point out who I'm concerned about. I wasn't thinking, but I'm just like, this is frustrating. Number one, Fass. He's I won't say he deserves to be dropped. I just don't see why Enzo persists with him in that position on that right hand side. If we would, it's so frustrating because at times he makes some good moves and he does some good saves, but a lot of the time he was just left for dead. The ball gets played around him and he just looks lost. And I like Fass, but he's a real confidence player. And at the moment, the confidence isn't with him. I missed the whole game, but listening to people that like other fan channels and listening to people on commentary, he had a bit of a bad game. Vestergaard bailed him out a few times. I thought was good, but it was really just frustrating at times. Hamza was another one. You know how much I like Hamza. The last few games, he's not been at it. And the problem is, on that right-hand side, if you're coming against a Chelsea team like this, you are going to get punished. For me, I would have preferred to see somebody a lot more solid in that position. Both of them kind of were a bit of a disappointment today. Fass and Hamza against a couple of teams will be picked apart. Now, the good news is Hamza's coming out of the team, Ricardo's coming back in, and it shows how vital he is for the team. But the people on the opposite side, on Fass, is another player, Ben Nelson, still young, still a player that would get the position. But yeah, I was kind of frustrated with a few players, but overall, for the whole squad, I'm so proud of the way they worked. Another game, we win. Another day, I think we win that game. And it's kind of believe the puts before as well. We don't deserve to lose by 4 at all. We had some good passages of play, especially in the first half. We took Chelsea, and they are a bit of a team that is stop-start. You could see there was problems with the team. But at times, we were struggling to get the ball forward. The one player I do want to shout out, Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Now, there's been question marks around him. Can he do it at the level of the Premier League, doing this kind of play? And he showed today that when nothing was on, when the team was struggling to get up the pitch, KDH was driving. I thought he was fantastic. Genuinely thought he was really good at times. There was parts in the game that I think he can get better at times when there was a ball to be played. I think it's in the second half, Kieran Hall driving the team forward, and JJ's free on that left-hand side. He just needs to play the ball across, and then we could have had a goal like theirs. But overall, really impressed with him. I thought Wolflin Diddy was good. I understand why they took him off because he's not played that many minutes, and it's against a good Chelsea side as well. Stolarczyk, what do I say about him? Considering, again, if I bring up me and I was chatting with Luke from Leicester Down Under before the game or during the game. Let me see if I can find where he was and how far he's come to see the level of this guy. I made some great saves, and the academy have rated him quite highly. But look at the teams he's played for. He went from obviously us, then he went to Dunfermline, went over to the Scottish League. I don't even believe they're in the first division. They might be like second or third division or something. Professional, what was it called? Scottish Championship. So he went to Scottish Championship. Then he went to Fleetwood, which was on League One. Didn't get enough loan time. Then went over to Hartlepool, who are non-league. The fact that he's come from that and then come into our squad and has looked great. Oh my God. He's the second best keeper we've got, and he's just been brilliant. In this game, his distribution was good, his reading of the game was good, and this is against a strong Premier League opposition. Yes, Chelsea have fallen. They're not a top 6, top 4 team like they used to be, but they're a mid-table Premier League team. And Stolarczyk, for the goals, I don't think he didn't do anything wrong, really. He was let down by his defence in front of him. Also, he was bailing out at the times when Fast would get something wrong or Hamza would get something wrong. So don't worry, I'll clear it up. Like a pro. You got to remember that he's older than Hermansen as well. I was unbelievably impressed, and it was a disappointment that he couldn't keep the goals out, but it wasn't his fault. It was, we'll get into the goals and how they were scored, but I was really, really impressed with the way that Leicester City decided to play out at times. We in the first half specifically, KDH was the one driving the team forward. Defensively, we were copying with them. And there was a couple of another thing that annoyed me about Fass. There was times where Sanchez came out and just flailed at it. No idea what he was doing. Fast nearly could have got under the. It was a free opportunity to put a header in about 31 minutes in. Flailed out, and all he needs to do is just guide it into that bottom right corner. He couldn't do it, which is really disappointing. And then there was a couple of opportunities as well where I went, "Oh my God, what's happened here?" Number one, Sterling, from their perspective, he has missed some absolute sitters in this game, and we can be kind of thankful because part of it is the way we played, and part of it was just the formations and how we decided to play football. But we were again 1-0 down from again Hamza and Fuss. Then coming into Sterling, there was a penalty that was a pretty clear penalty in my opinion. I forgot who gave it away, but a great save by Hermansen because the ball was it was an awful penalty by Sterling. But that's what I'm saying. Getting some of the comments. Good game, mate. Good game, but proud Chelsea today deserved it. I think on another game, but yes, I guess so in terms of that. But yeah, potentially, I'm proud of the lads and what they went about today and how they went about achieving that game. It didn't quite work out, but it can show you against a mid-table Premier League team with a few additions to come back into the team. Bearing in mind, Ricardo would have made that game a bit different. Jamie Vardy still puts fear into teams as well. Hermansen's going to come back into that team. Harry Winks, I thought, was pretty good in the game as well. Then Diddy's just coming back from fitness. You can see where he slots into the team. KDH is performing against that level. The only problem was there wasn't anybody around him. In that first half, we were just lacking that final ball. There was some nice play down Mavididi on one side. Fatau, again, as nice. I think he's a really good player. I think his age showed a little bit today. And I don't mean to be in a disrespectful way, but from what he was doing and how he was playing, it made I think he got carried away with the moment. And I don't blame him. If I was 19 years old, I'd be even more like him, getting carried away with, oh, we're getting on this ball. He did play some nice position, but he just lacks that little bit of care that we needed to take it on to the next level. I don't want to badger him too much, but I think he was a good player for that perspective. Just looking at some of the comments, unlucky today that Doyle. I was actually saying that at half time for Justin to come in place of Fass, because I think Fass has been poor for the last few games now. I don't know what it takes to bench him, and he is a confidence player. We do need him in the second in the team, but not now. I think he just needs to be dropped for a bit, then put back in later. Especially now we're in the 8 games to go now. For their second goal that they got, Palmer puts it away. There's really beautifully away. Again, it was, I believe, we played ourselves into trouble as well. Sterling did really well just after missing the penalty. And I was looking at the game going, okay, what are we going to do? How is this going to work? And to my considering we're 2-0 down, we can continue to play our way. And I think, considering the levels of the team we're at, it's frustrating because we are a good team, but we needed to again change up a lot more, and we need to get a hold of the game. We were playing well. It was a confusing performance to analyze because we were controlling Chelsea at times, but then at the same time, there was big holes in it as well. I think if you put Ricardo back in the team, those holes are less so. And Palmer's on form. Mudryk, I personally don't rate too much as a player. And then we come into we come into the second half, and there's no changes at half time, which I was a little bit surprised about. I would have liked to see, I've put it here on my, again, if you could see that in my notes. No, you can't. I would have liked to see JJ come on for Fass at half time. I think that he was pretty good. And he's been unfortunate to be left out of the team, because I think defensively we needed that. And at times, if Chelsea were more clinical, they would have ran away with the game, especially on that right-hand side. I don't want to pick on them too much, but I think they both should be dropped for the next game. Hamza and Fass, and I'll keep going back to that. And then all out of nowhere, we were watching the football, and all of a sudden it just goes blank. And then with all the balls in the back of the net, what happened there? So Disasi decides to do Walt Fass and puts the ball all the way down the other corner, and we get a goal from it. Actually, we've got Mark in. Mark, man, how are you feeling about the game?
Pretty good to mate, to be fair. It was one of them that I thought we were going to push on and win the game when we got it back to 2-2, but it's just circumstance, isn't it? The laws of the game mean that we go down to 10 men rather than them have a penalty. We'd have been better off of them having a penalty and trying to claw it back from 3-2, but it is what it is, and a day to be proud, I think, as a Leicester fan.
I think so. I'm just going through and analysing bits for it. I'm just covering the first half. And my first half thoughts in general were, we played well, but we just lacked that killer pass or killer instinct to really get us onto the next level. And Chelsea were there to be punished a little bit, but we didn't do enough to really get the most out of Chelsea. But overall I'm proud, but the first half, it was just lacking that little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the quality of the Premier League that you see, isn't it? So the mistakes you can make in the Championship, you get away with sort of quite often. In the Premier League or against Premier League teams, you don't. But I didn't think we were great in the first half. We gave them really a 2-0 lead. It could have been more than that. If we were 4-0 down at half time, then so be it. But 2-0 with Chelsea the way they are, you've always got a way back into the game.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, Disasi absolutely, I was just saying as you joined, does a wild fast. We've seen some of them from wild fast before. Comes out of nowhere. But again, you've got to give, Sanchez is out of position. Disasi will be blamed for it, but I think Daka deserves a little bit of praise from, again, I know he's not a fan favourite, but pressing from the front, pushing him into that position to put the ball in the back of their own net.
Yeah, full credit to Daka for that. I'm not a big Daka fan, if I'm honest. I think he's wasteful, and I think he's probably our fourth best striker overall. But he definitely put the pressure on today for that goal. Once we saw it back on the TV after they'd finished showing the previous replay, wasn't sure what had happened. Just saw the ball roll into the net, so it was it was a nice surprise, wasn't it? And it got us away back into the game really out of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a couple of opportunities just after that, where we missed a couple of opportunities, or Sasha saved them. Oh, and he's gone. And one of the things that I wanted to mention is around Mavididi for that second goal. I physically got up out of my seat and just went, "Oh my god!" The fact that it went again to 2-2 mark after the Mavididi goal, would I say that's the best goal he scored? And he looked up for it a little bit for the game, but the way he celebrated that goal, the cutting that he did, and the way he put that across, that was a sublime goal for to make it 2-2.
It was. I had that goal sort of ruined for me a little bit because I'm watching on Sky Stream, which is obviously a little bit behind, and everyone already started celebrating. So I knew what was coming, but it was a beautiful goal. It was one that you'd. I don't know if you remember back in the day at Chelsea, but Steve Guppy cutting on his right foot from similar sort of position and curled it into the far corner. It reminded me a little bit of that. So it was a beautiful moment, and I just felt we were in the ascendancy at that point. I thought we were going to go on and win the tie and take ourselves to Wembley.
I thought so too, because at that time, I think when Cole Palmer was getting the ball, they were just pot shots. They were trying it, but I don't think we did enough to really capitalize on it. But before you know it, they made some substitutions that changed the team. Like Fatal came off, Eunice came on. Didn't think he made that much of an impact. And then before you know it, after the second goal, Doyle got sent off, and I think that kind of killed the game a little bit. Even though we did well after that, I think the fact that you're going down to 10 men against that Chelsea side, I think that was kind of game over at that point.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the end of our attacking intent anyway. So you look at it and think if it went to extra time, it'd be a slog really. 30 minutes of trying to clear our lines.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the manager did the right thing afterwards with the changes he made. But it's one of those things. I still feel that it would have been better off going 3-2 down with a penalty there and having a chance of getting back into the game that way. But you got to criticise a little bit Yannick Vestergaard for that penalty, for that free kick as well. He got spanned so easily. It wasn't his greatest day for us today, and that was a bit of a shame. But Doyle's come across. He doesn't really have much choice other than to go for the ball, and he's just clipped the back of Jackson, and he's gone down there. So an unfortunate moment, but unfortunately due to the laws of the game, the right decision.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's makes sense. For me, I'd blame Vestergaard less. I actually blame, if you look further ahead of that. I don't know if it'll be shown if we watch the replays. Foss loses the ball. He comes out quite high, and it leaves Vestergaard exposed, so he has to close down the team. And he's pressed before, but again, as soon as he gets spun, and we've got a good Premier League opposition, they're going to take it away from. And again, by that, so I blame Vestergaard less. Probably blame Fastborn. I've been having a little bit of a moan because I don't think he's been good. He's been good enough really for the last couple of games. I think he
Who's
kind of
that?
deserves to
Sorry.
be dropped. Foss.
I think one of them needs to be dropped because I think at the minute we're looking for leadership, and Connor Cody probably comes in as one of those defenders to offer us that. I thought Cody did fairly well when he came on today. He doesn't look any worse than either of the two of those. I don't know. I don't think that either of them had a particularly good game. I think their lack of pace was a real was a real sort of bonus point for Chelsea. Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson in particular played really well. And sort of made us look a little bit sluggish at times. But yeah, I don't know about the sending off being Fast's fault. It was definitely Vestergaard that got spun, wasn't it? I don't know where Fast was actually. Thinking back to that picture.
He was higher up the pitch at the time, and he got spanned quite. He was trying to push the ball and leaving loads of open space. And I think he did that too many times in the game. And then
Yeah.
you're right in terms of the substitution he made for for Towel for Eunice. I thought was a good stuff, even though Eunice did go a bit missing in the game. JJ, I thought when he came on for Mavididi, I was like, oh my god, that's a bold statement. I thought, well, we are 2-2. We're just going to try and defend the point out, which made sense. And
You get a
again for
point
that,
for the FA Cup, Neil.
sorry.
You don't get a point for the FA Cup.
You see, it's why you should come onto your channel because I'm useless at it. But yeah, you see, trying to go to win the game, and then again, I'm with you when Cody came on, the team looks a lot more sound, a lot more concrete. And I think that at times, I think even though we had one man down, we were almost playing with like a five at the pack. So it's like Vestergaard,
Yeah.
Cody, Fuss, Chowdhury, and then JJ playing as that five, just to try and hunker down that defense and try and break on us. But it didn't quite work. But I'm still very proud of what they've done in consideration of towards the end of the game. Because they gave it everything, but it wasn't enough because a couple of the goals wasn't really a lot we could do about them.
No, certainly the last two. I think you've got to just put your hands up sometimes and say that's a moment of magic. And Palmer's flick through to Chukwuemeka was was superb, really. I think when you think back to Leicester, how we play against a low block, we had James Maddison that did it particularly well, didn't we, for a period of time? But you need that moment of magic to open a team up. And we looked quite comfortable up until that point. You know, balls were getting flung into the area. We were dealing with them fairly well. I think Jackson had a chance where he put it over the bar, but apart from that, we looked fairly solid. So yeah, it was a moment of magic, and I don't think you can do too much about that. And he's gone and tucked it through Stolacek's legs, hasn't he? Which is, you know, you don't save them as a goalkeeper. And then the fourth goal was a deflection, lucky deflection against Deflection FC.
Yeah, I was like, if it wasn't in the Premier League, we'd be like, oh, in the Championship, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. But coming on to that, I don't know how you feel about Solarchik, but I thought he was mightily impressive in his FA Cup run in general. But over the games he's played, considering I've just went through it before, he played National League, not even much of a couple of games in League One, a Championship in the Scottish Championship. I'll show you. I'll bring it up on screen. Considering what he's done, I think he's been fantastic for us.
I think we had the two best players on the pitch today. You know, I think Stolacek was up there, and I think KDH. I think it was one of his best ever games. But Stolacek was superb. If I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, I apologise. But he's still a young guy, isn't he? How old is he? 20, 21?
20, I think he's 25. I'll have to have a look
Is
at
he?
the specifics. Yeah, I think he's older than, want to say, let's have a look.
He can't be
2000,
25.
24.
Bloody hell.
Sorry, 2020, 23, born in 2000.
They grow up so fast these days, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. But again, the players are rating quite highly, and considering he's been put ahead of Ward, obviously ahead of Iverson as well, I think. Do you think he could cut it in the Premier League as our second keeper? I know we've got problems at the moment, but I think it was mightily impressive today.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was superb today. Shot stopping's always been good from when I've seen him. His distribution was the thing that was a bit of a challenge, but because he played it longer today, that wasn't really a concern at all. I thought he was superb. Yeah, the penalty save was obviously a highlight, but also the save towards the end where he got down quite well to stop that. I think that might have been Jackson as well. It was a good save. So yeah, I think so. I think we've got our first choice two goalkeepers nailed down there. Our first two choice goalkeepers rather nailed down there a little bit. And the others that are there need to be moved on, don't they? So Danny Ward and Everson, their time's come, unfortunately. So it's time for them to move on.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with the likes of Smithy's retiring as well. It's just that old guard needs to move out basically. And just coming on to another couple of players to mention to you, Wilfred Ndidi. It's his first start, I think, this year. I can't remember the last time he started a game for us after his injury. I think in that position it did work, but you can still see the levels that he can come up to is still yet to become. But especially in that first half, he's got this really good relationship with Fatawa at times where they know where each other are at playing. And I think the more they keep playing, the better that relationship will get, as we've seen earlier on in the season.
He plays that little inside ball to him, doesn't he, Fatawa, after Wilf makes the run inside, which is it's always nice to see. Wilfred Ndidi, for me, I think he's one of the best players in the division and the Championship. And we've missed him when he's been out. You know, our stats show that when he plays, we win normally. And when he doesn't play, we tend to struggle a little bit more. So it was great to have him back. I think he still looks slightly unfit in terms of lasting a full 90. And he wasn't as strong in the tackle as he normally is, I thought, today. But it was great to see him back, and I thought his performance was good nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think the more after the international break, he gets more game time, and he's going to keep playing in that performance as well. And just one player that we've mentioned a little bit already, I'm surprised we didn't see Kelechi Iheanacho in this game.
Yeah, me too.
Especially when we're coming into the last, again, you can understand giving Daka 60 minutes, but the fact that he was still playing towards the end, where at times KDH's there wasn't anything on when we got down to 10 men. Granted, I know we need to make the defensive substitutions first, but Daka didn't really offer anything too much in the second half. He was in some good positions, but at times when KDH broke, we needed somebody else to just be like, right, I'm just going to go and get the ball. And he didn't quite. It was only KDH up there making things happen. At times, Daka did look vacant.
Yeah, I've been quite sort of vocal on my thoughts around Daka being our fourth choice striker for me. I just wonder, with us down to 10 men, whether the idea was to keep as much pace on the pitch as possible. And that's why Justin came on and KDH in the midfield, and, Winks could spring that past as well. So I wonder if the plan changed a little bit, because when you need a goal in the FA Cup, the man to go to is Mr. Kelechi Iheanacho, isn't it? We all know that.
Exactly.
He scored, I think, a ridiculous amount of goals in the FA Cup. So yeah, a bit of a shame that he didn't get on. Daka for me did okay today. The argument is it because he's not got enough service, or is it because he's not creating enough himself, and is he not getting involved enough? He's got to take full credit for the first goal in terms of pressuring Disasi into the
Disaster.
yeah, I tried to make that work. And he does take credit for that, but overall, he's not the man that I want to see starting. The man for me starting is still that number 9. He might be 37, but he's still the main man for me.
I don't know if we can do. For example, would you play him until the rest of the season? Because considering we're out of the FA Cup now, we've gave it a good go. I'm glad, to be honest, it didn't go into extra time that we lose anyway.
Yeah, me too.
So for kind of a silver lining of that, and it was an opportunity to get through to the semi-final, but now we've got one goal to concentrate on, which is just game after game get promoted to the Premier League. That's the only goal I think going. Obviously, it's the only goal going forward. But considering one by one the other teams were coming out of it, this is a real opportunity for us to just go, right, ban down the hatches, forget what's happening with the financial situation. Let's get together and just go one game at a time and just rattle through them and get back to the Premier League.
But I think the important thing is to take it one game at a time as well. So, who might be the right players for the next game may not be the right players for the game after. But for me, the midfield we had today is the right midfield. I think we desperately missed Ricardo Pereira at right back. I know you're a big fan of Hamza, but he's not the man for me, I'm afraid.
I'm with you. Recently, I'm with you. I will honestly look for Hamza, but the last few games he's not been good enough. And the thing is, you're always going to struggle when they've got a player of the quality of Ricardo, but the chasm between him and Hamza has been vast. And at times Hamza has covered okay for him, but in the recent games, he's looked nowhere near it. And again, a game like today, he let us. I say he let us down. His faults were obvious.
Yeah, they were. It felt like we didn't have a right back at different points today. So whether him tucking into the midfield was the right thing to do against Chelsea or not, I don't know, and I'm not convinced it was. So maybe it wasn't all his fault. But I look at the first goal. It could be questionable whether he lost his man there or was he trying to cover the man in the middle. I'm not too sure. Even the sending off for Doyle, where was he for that? It was Vestergaard that was left 1-on-1 with Jackson. So yeah, I think there is a big difference. I think you're right, but there's very few squads in even the Premier League these days, but certainly in the Championship where you get two players of a similar quality for a position. And he's done okay when he's played, but we desperately miss Ricardo. And beyond that, I think a change might need to happen at centre back moving forward. I think Conor Cody has to come in for the running. I think his leadership skills are underrated, and we lack leaders. We lack that mentality at times. So, yeah, I think Vardy up front with the players that I've already spoke about will be the right way going forward.
Do you think Vardy can play 90 minutes every game to the end of the season, or would you play him for like 60 minutes and run the team down, then bring on a sub? Because I don't know if Vardy's we are still playing. I think not quite Tuesday, Saturday all the time, but we are playing a few games. I don't think Vardy can hack it for that period of time.
We'll see yellow cards being thrown around in the Leeds game, Neil, just in front of me at the minute. It's nice to see as yellow for Leeds and a yellow for Millwall, so that looks to be a tasty game. Will he last 90 minutes? I'm not sure he will. Can he play the whole 9 games in terms of a bit part in those 9 games, the first 60 minutes or whatever? Then I would say so. We've got a big week coming up, haven't we, when we resume? Those 3 games there, absolutely huge.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to get the times. So we've got Bristol City on the Friday, the 29th. Then we've
Yeah,
got Monday. Then on the Monday, 2 days away, then you've got Norwich at home. Then you've
tough
got
game.
Birmingham at home, who are again really struggling at the moment under Guy
Yeah,
Rowe. Plymouth, don't really know too much about them, so I can't really comment. But that's a Friday
struggling,
again.
mate. They're
Tuesday,
struggling.
Friday, West Brom, then Southampton. Them 2 games might be crucial. Then Preston.
And Preston.
Yeah.
But I think the next 4 or 5 are the ones you need to look at and think, right, let's win them. Create
Yeah.
a little bit of space again. I say create a bit of space. I don't know if Leeds will lose again. I'm not sure if we'll win the title. I'm not sure if I care. I just want to get back up to where we sort of belong. So we'll see. We'll see what will happen. Ipswich are so bloody annoying, though.
6-0 they won
6-0.
yesterday. Unbelievable.
That's
But
the
again,
way to do
credit
it,
to
isn't it?
them. Unbelievable. They were so good. They are annoying, but it is annoying, but they're brilliant if you're not a team that's competing against them. But I think they've been fantastic. If they come up, my God, that would be something as well.
Yeah, it would. You've got to argue that Kieran McKenna is probably the manager of the season, isn't he, for what he's
100%.
done?
Yeah.
But do you know a big difference at the moment between the two of us? And you can look at it in every single
1
way,
point.
apart from with Leeds, is the fact that they strengthened in January. And those teams that strengthened around us in January are the teams that have got that little bit more of an edge at the moment because there's a bit more freshness about it. We didn't, and we're down to our bare bones in places.
Yeah, and again, it just takes, without sounding, we don't want to jinx it or anything, but it just takes one injury to Ricardo Pereira, one injury to one of the, like Kingsbury Hall is another example. Mavididi, do we really have the cover for them? They do cover, but just as we've saw already, they're not at the level in terms of Ricardo and Hamza are not at the same level at all. And we have got Tuesday, as you've probably seen with the games, it's Tuesday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday. It's 2 games a week for a while as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a tough run in. I think we need to just break it down and take it a game at a time and see where we sort of land. But Bristol City next game, should we win there? Absolutely, we should. They're not in great form at the moment, and they're a handy side on the day and have ran sort of some of the other sides close that are around us. I know Ipswich last time I think that was a 4-3 game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Between Bristol City and Ipswich. I'd expect us to go there and win. I think Norwich on Easter Monday is going to be a tough game, and then Birmingham after that we should win as well. So if we can get 9 points out of the next 9, that's going to stand us in a great stead really going forward. I'm more excited now for the end of the season than I was before kickoff today because I feel like we've got a little bit more mentally about us now. To come back from 2-0 today showed me something that I didn't quite know about Leicester City.
I'm with you, and especially in the second half when we went down to 10 men, that's that gutty, that steeliness that we needed to really see out the game. Just a player that I wanted to mention, coming back to the game as well. I wouldn't say he was bad. I'm trying to think because we've seen him have better games before. I didn't really notice him too much. What do you make of Harry Winks?
Superb, mate. Yeah, really, I love Harry Winks. He does everything well, doesn't he? So he doesn't do loads of different stuff through the game. He's tidy. He gets the ball moving forward. I thought his forward passes were much more on point through the game today. In fact, he played more forward passes today. He looked to find Fatu in particular quite often. And I thought he was sound and he was tidy and he looked like a Premier League player. And you know, on that sort of showing, that's what you're looking for, is that who can step up potentially next season. I think you've got question marks over the defence after today, but looking at the midfield, I think they all sort of showed up. So it was good to see.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think that you just mentioned about that, considering that is a mid-table Premier League opposition. Obviously we'll see what the finance situation would be like. I'm just proud of the lads and what they turned up. Could we have done better? Yes. Could we have finished the opportunities better? But I think overall, I couldn't be more proud of them for what they did, considering the situation, whether it was down to 10 men, considering it was the ground and the players they brought on, and even the substitutions that Enzo made.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a proud day for Leicester. 6,000 fans there as well. It's always good to put a performance on in front of those, isn't it? So I felt a bit sorry for them after the first half, but second half was the Leicester that I know can sort of turn up and cause problems for teams no matter the quality. And Chelsea are a bottom half team of the Premier League, but they're not on paper. They've got world class players. Well, potential world class players in their
They've got
ranks.
£100 million that they paid for players.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, but they've got players that could go on. I really, really like Cole Palmer. I think he should be a mainstay of the England team for years to come. That left back they brought on towards the end's a bit shit though, isn't he? So.
Do you know what I was watching? I was watching it with Luke from Fox's Down Under. He goes, "Why does everybody hate Ben Chilwell?" I was like, "Where do we even start with that one?" There's so many things that, and I've never known a fan base. I've even all my time knowing Leicester to hate a player as much as him that's come from our academy.
Yeah, he did it though, didn't he? There
Yeah,
was no real ill feeling. There was no real ill feeling towards him until before that FA Cup final when he said that he was desperate to get one over on us, sort of thing. So it was a bit of his own doing that brought that on.
I guess,
yeah, it's a shame to see him on the winning side today.
but also he's how he down tools for us after he got his move to Chelsea confirmed by Frank Lampard, and he's like, right, I'm not going to play for you. And I think we played against Chelsea in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup at home.
Yeah.
And he went over, he didn't play at all very well. Speaking to Chelsea fans, he's exactly the same from what I've seen from the highlights. Well, he's doing the same problems as he was for us, turning back, not taking people on, just kind of like floundering balls. So yeah, I hope they don't win the FA Cup just for him.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he never wins a game in the rest of his life, but maybe I'm just being bitter. But at least the away fans got to sort of give him a little bit of abuse today, which was nice. So
yeah, I'm with you. But Mark, yeah, we'll finish up here. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I'll leave your podcast, everything down below. When are you where can the people find you?
Well, they can't at the minute. We're sort of on a bit of an extended hiatus. We've taken most of the season off this season, which is a bit of a shame. So I've spent my time doing shows like this instead. So you can find me with Gab Sutton on EFL debate and stuff like that. And when we get some new shows, I'll be sure to plug them as well.
No worries. I'll put the link to your Twitter as well down below if people want to check you out. Again,
cheers, man.
We'll finish up here. Thanks so much for joining. Like, subscribe, everybody, and we'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.